We welcome Holy Cross coach and student athletes to the stage. We'll make a couple of procedural reminders. First of all, tip for the next game is 7:18. We remind you to raise your hand when you have a question, and we'll direct a mic holder to you. Please ask the question into the mic, so that means waiting until it arrives. If you can, please direct your question to a specific student athlete. We'll direct questions to student athletes after coach's opening statement, and then when questions to those young men have been exhausted, we'll dismiss them. And we will go ahead and now take an opening statement from Coach.
Okay, thank you. We're all disappointed that we didn't give a better account of ourselves this evening, and Oregon had something to do with that. There's a reason why they're number one seed. We really were, not effective offensively, and it seemed like we played pretty tight. And then, as I told Coach Altman afterwards, it's a very good passing team, and they share the ball very nicely. And we really didn't have any answers to stop them. We've been sort of running guys, trying not to allow three-point shots in most of our conference in the playoffs, and that was effective. We told the team, this team, we're more concerned with them, driving, penetrating, and so you want to close out and contain them, and we weren't able to do that. Maybe it was because we've been playing a certain way for about 3 weeks now, and when we went out on guys pretty hard, they were able to get into the seams and either score themselves or find guys around the basket. So we're disappointed. Again, I think that's a very good Oregon team, but we feel like we had a nice run here, and we have something to build on for the future.
Questions for Holy Cross student athletes Malachi Alexander and Robert Champion.
Tom Klaus, Wilkes and Review. Robert, you had a high score of the game. Just talk a little bit about what Oregon did and compare their physicality to some of the other teams you recently played.
We knew they were going to be physical. They got big, strong wings. And they played kind of a matchup zone that kind of threw us off a little bit. They changed defenses, and we struggled to score. In a team like that, when you get open looks, you got to knock them down. I think we struggled doing that in the first half and in the second half. But yeah, Oregon, they're a very physical team. I think you saw that on the rebounds too. But it's not really like any team we've recently played, I wouldn't think, which I think is part of the reason why we struggle with it so much. But they're a number one seed for a reason.
Rob, you guys seemed pretty relaxed yesterday. Were you nervous at all when the game started, or in the moments leading up to it?
I don't think so. No. I think we had confidence going into the game. You know what I mean? And maybe somewhere along that line we lost that, but I couldn't tell any difference. Going out there and playing today or going out and playing Wednesday. I don't think it was any nerves or anything like that. We just struggled making shots and struggled rebounding.
Malachi, when did you guys feel the game slipping away?
I think it was just gradual throughout the first half. Like, they just made us uncomfortable on offense, and then, like Coach said, we allowed a lot more paint touches than our past games, and that was really key. When you get down by that margin against a team of that caliber, it's just it's really tough to get back into it.
Robert, what do you learn from an experience like this?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What do you learn from an experience like this?
We learn a lot. You know what I mean? It's like Coach said, it's something that we look forward to building off of. We got majority of our team coming back next year. So like we said in the locker room, we're gonna take a couple weeks off and then get back in the gym and keep working. I think it's it can only be positive. The stuff that you take away, you learn from the negatives, and you've realized what you've done and what you've accomplished, and you move forward and try and do it again.
Howie Sullick, Boston Globe and Portland Tribune. Could you guys just comment on the champion kid, number 25?
Who would you like that question directed to?
Both players, just your impressions of his athleticism and whatnot.
Malachi, let's start with you.
Who are you referring
Oh,
to?
I'm sorry, Boucher. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, he was a huge presence inside for them. He gave our defense fits just because of his length, and I think we had to do a better job of rotating on that backside. But yeah, he's a good player.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll dismiss the student athletes, and when they've left the stage, we'll direct questions to Coach. Thank you, guys. Questions for Coach Carmody?
Coach Tom Klauskin from Spokes Review. Obviously, you had a tough schedule getting in here early Thursday morning. Do you feel that affected your team at all coming into tonight?
You know, if we lost by 7 and we were dragging, I'd say that. But yeah, this is how we've been. We've been, had a tough travel schedule for about 3 weeks now, 3.5 weeks, and so I wouldn't even think about bringing that up, to tell you the truth.
Bill, what can you say about Rob's performance, not just tonight, but throughout the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, tonight he was he seemed to be really the lone confident guy out there to me. I mean, Anthony was confident enough, but he was missing shots. But Rob was aggressive, and which we stressed to the team. But everybody was hesitating out there, and we get the ball inside and fake up 3 times, and then we just didn't come through. And I think Rob or Malachi said that they made us feel uncomfortable, and they did. But he's been very good. I mean, we wouldn't be here. He hit a circus shot to beat Bucknell, and he's played very well. He's grown throughout the year as a kid too. He's sort of taking charge a little bit and telling guys what to do in a good way. So it's good as a coach to see that kind of development.
Did their athleticism or ability to play above the rim allow them to attack the backside of your zone in ways that you guys hadn't really seen yet?
Well, I mean, the Patriot League doesn't have guys like that, but a lot of guys that can jump and run, and they throw the ball up a lot. But these guys, they're passing. It was on the money each time. Every single pass was just right, and certainly the size and the athleticism. But I just thought they were precise the way they went about their business on offense.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we welcome University of Oregon representatives to the dais. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Altman.
I thought our energy was pretty good early. You know, with them having to come clear across the country, you know, I thought we came out and set the tone early and never really let them get into the game. And that's a tribute to the guys for getting themselves ready and focused and ready to play right from the start.
All right, if you would please direct questions to Oregon student athletes Casey Benson and Dylan Brooks, and if you could designate a student athlete to answer, that would be great.
I guess we'll start with Dylan. You know, there's a lot always said about a 16-1 matchup, and Holy Cross came in here by making 3 straight upsets. Did that enter your mind, or did you just get the ball and go?
You know, Holy Cross is, you know, a great team. You know, like you said, they came out on the road and won 3 straight, and then they're coached by a great coach. You know, I was kind of scared, to be honest. You know, we've been making a lot of history, you know, in Oregon, but I didn't want to make that kind of history, you know, for a 16 seed to be the 1 seed. But, you know, we really just came out there and, you know, just delivered the game plan that Coach Altman had and, you know, just really, you know, just outworked them and just really took it to them. You know, they only played like 7 guys, so, you know, if we just kept running and, you know, just kept attacking the boards, they'll wear out.
And this is for Dylan as well, and that's what I want to follow up on was the board. So you had a 44-28 advantage on the boards. How much during the week leading up to the game did Coach Altman preach to you that you have to own the boards?
Oh yeah, he always preaches that. And when you only get 2 boards, he's on you. You know, if you get, you know, under your average, he's on you. And, you know, that goes to anybody. You know, Casey, you know, he had a bad performance on the boards. But, you know, we just go out there and, you know, just really try to out-rebound teams. And, you know, that's how we win games.
More questions for Oregon student athletes?
Howie Stallwick, Portland Tribune. Sorry about your bad performance on the boards there, Casey. But despite that, could you talk a little bit about Chris Boucher's performance? Both of you guys, actually. Just, you know, he was wowing the crowd. He was pretty good tonight.
No, Chris was extremely active tonight, flying all over the place. And, you know, we've come to expect that from him. You know, with his long arms and just his activity. He's a guy who can get so much done in such a little bit amount of time. He played 17 minutes and you know, he had 20. So he does a really good job just flying around and being active, bringing a ton of energy on both ends of the floor.
Dylan?
You know, Chris is, you know, a great player who, you know, came along, you know, getting better over the season. And like Casey said, you know, that's what we expect from him every day. You know, blocking shots, you know, hitting that corner 3, and then, you know, rebounding the basketball what he did. You know, he had a great game. And, you know, we were just looking for him on that bottom, you know, especially I was, you know, every time he calls for it, you know, I just throw it up there and let him go get it. So, you know, and that contributes to, you know, his hard work in the offseason especially.
Question for both of you guys. How long do you enjoy this one before you start thinking about St. Joe's or Cincinnati?
Casey, let's start with you.
You know, we're thinking about that right now. You know, we're going to go watch the game, obviously, and just get ready to go. You know this one's over. So, you know, next one's the most important one, you know, obviously. So just got to take it one game at a time and come out ready to go with the same focus, the same intensity. You know, we know either team is going to be a really tough game. So just got to be focused and, you know, get ready.
Dylan?
We just celebrated right after the game, and then now we're just focused and keen into whoever wins this matchup out of St. Joe's and Cincinnati. You know, that's out of our head, and now we got to move on to the next game and really focus and bring the same intensity that we did into this game. So.
All right, we'll dismiss the student athletes and thank them, and once they've left, we'll direct questions to Coach. Thank you, guys. Questions for Coach Altman?
Danny, you talked about the start, but is that in a game like this the key? We saw Michigan State today fall down 15-2 and a hole they couldn't get out of, just to kind of get a lead where the other team didn't get a lot of confidence?
Well, we thought so. We thought if we could get off on the right foot, and we had a lot of guys. With Dylan with 5 assists and Elgin with 4. I thought their ball movement and penetration kick. And Dylan throwing it up to Chris really got him going. So. And I thought the first 4 minutes was important. I think it was 7-2. We were shooting free throws out of the timeout, and we'd gotten to the offensive boards and set a tone there. So I thought our tone defensively was good. Our tone on the boards was good. So I really liked the first 4-minute segment.
Dana, what has clicked for this team defensively? I mean, rebounding the last few games, if you look back into the conference tournament, you guys have really excelled there, especially in the first part of the game when you guys are able to create that kind of lead.
Well, 8 of the last 9 games, we have been good on the boards, with the exception of the Arizona game. So, I think it's something that our guys have focused in a little bit more. Defensively, I think our activity is much better than it was earlier in the season. Our communication has improved some. So fundamentally, I think we've just gotten a little bit better. But obviously, moving forward, it's got to be every time out. You let down just a little bit, and your season can be over. So hopefully, we'll keep that same focus, that same intensity Sunday.
Anything more for Coach?
Matt Calkins of the Seattle Times. Dana, a little off topic. Obviously, you guys were dominant today. Utah was dominant in their first round game as well, but all the other Pac-12 teams lost, and they were all favored. What, if anything, do you think that reflects?
I'm not sure they were all favored, but they were all in a position. They missed some free throws. Cal had some bad luck this week. It wasn't a good first weekend for our conference. I will admit that. Free throws hurt a couple of the ball teams, but it's one of those things. You go in and we did have a great conference year. Nobody's going to take anything away from that. But if you don't perform in the tournament, then it gives you opportunity for people to attack your league. And unfortunately, that's happened. So, and the same will be true if Utah and us don't advance. We know that. That's just the reality of it. And that's fine. That's fine. We're in this position. We'd much rather be in this position than any other, so we just got to go make it work. We got to play. I sure hope Utah plays, and we both just got to make it work.
Talking with Dylan and Jordan, they said they both watched the Michigan State game today, and it was really one of those moments where it kind of hit them. Really, in March, any team can lose. Was that, or did you touch on that at all today in your pregame message?
We didn't. Our guys have been watching the games. That's one of the advantages of playing late. It's tough because you watch everybody else play, and it seems like it takes forever to get to your game. But, I heard them talking yesterday when, a couple 12s upset 5s. And, when we got together, today, I didn't have to say anything. I just kind of listened to them. And that's, guys taking ownership in their team, which you really like as a coach. I didn't have to say anything to them. I heard them talking about it. I think it's much more effective, if they're talking about it and it's something on their mind. If there's something that's obvious that they're missing, we'll talk about it. But I really like it when the guys, kind of talking to each other about, man, did you see that? And we got to get ready. That's much more effective than me trying to convince them that something's important.
I was just going to ask if you had a chance to look at Cincinnati or St. Joe's at all.
I have not. We had some coaches do some work on them, but I have not. I'll start tonight, get back to the hotel, and watch this game, and then our film man's already got my iPad loaded up with both teams, and we'll go to work on whichever team, we're fortunate enough to play. But I have not. A couple of the coaches have worked on Cincinnati. A couple of them have started work on St. Joe's, but I don't do that until we're done with one opponent. So we'll get focused tonight. We'll have tomorrow. We don't practice. I think we practice at 1. So we'll have plenty of time to talk and get a game plan in and break down some film and be ready to go.
One quick follow-up. You're talking about film study. When you looked at Holy Cross and what you planned, did it come out as you planned? Did you see holes in that 1-3-1, or how did tonight come through from what you had scouted?
There were two things. We thought we really needed to flatten their 1-3-1 out. I didn't think the previous teams did a very good job of getting the ball to the baseline and attacking. From the baseline, they tried to attack too much outside. So we tried to get it flattened out a little bit more, and Elgin and Dylan did a really good job of driving that thing from the baseline and throwing it up to Chris underneath. Dylan with 5 assists and no turnovers. Those were all penetration up at the basket. We wanted to push it. We didn't want to play at their pace. And I thought we got some early runouts, which really helped us. And then the last thing, we thought we could beat them on the boards just because of our athleticism, and the fact that we had been rebounding the ball well. So, our guys in those 3 areas, I thought, did a good job. And, we only turned it over 7 times, which, we were worried about that, just guys getting lazy with passes. But for the most part, we did a pretty good job.
How much do you attribute Elgin Cook playing maybe his best basketball to you guys playing your best basketball of the year?
Well, Elgin, had a real disappointing road trip to Cal and Stanford, and since then, he's been unbelievable. He's been so good. Everything's team, and our championship game against Utah, he had 6 assists. And tonight, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 6 shots. All I was worried about was making plays. He had a double-double with 13 rebounds, So Elgin's playing great, and man, it's one of those things we're really going to miss him. For 3 years, he's been a big part of our team, and just watching his progression, is fun as a coach, because you hope your guys get better and take on a bigger role every year, and man, he's done a tremendous job for us.
Let's take one more for Coach if we have one. Last question.
Is this kind of what you envisioned when you recruited him 3 years ago, that he'd be playing like this as in your system?
Well, we hoped, you never know what path a young man's going to take, but we were really pleased with his athleticism when we recruited him. I thought he was a good competitor, and I thought he wanted to get better. And you mix that athleticism with a young man attitude who wants to get better and is a fighter, someone who will compete, and they got a chance to get pretty good, and in some recruiting, you miss on a guy, but if you've got someone who will compete and wants to get better, they got a chance, and Elgin fits that mold, and you add the athleticism that he has, and it's really exciting, to see the progression that he's made.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Number 0.